Hey parents, how's it going? It's Francis here, aka Mr. Lazaro. Mr. Lazaro to your students, because your students, they can't call me Francis. No, 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 we don't do the first name basis. But you have the privilege of calling me by my first name, Francis. Like that's not even much of a privilege, man. Um, but yeah, so it's not much of a privilege. But I'm coming to you tonight, wherever you're watching this. Maybe good evening if it's a nighttime, good morning if it's in the morning. Just wanted to come to you today with a little bit of information about the IEP process that we have here at our school, at our district, and that many districts have. And if you don't know what the IEP process is, the IEP process is an individualized education program for your student if they're struggling, if they have a disability. And so we come alongside them with a team, the school psychologist, with school admin. We come together as a team to help your student out because that's the number one thing is we just want to help your students grow and develop because we believe in them. Anyways, let me just speak today. I just wanted to come to you today with a couple of things. First thing, the couple of things I wanted to come to you today is just yours and your students' involvement in the IEP process, the referral process, the evaluation process, your students' eligibility, and then the different components of the IEP, which I'll break down a little bit. But it's all informational, and just wanted to come to you and make sure you know that all of this information, all of this is at your disposal, and we can work together on all of this. So first, parent-student involvement in the IEP. We want you and your students to be involved as much as possible. After all, this is about your child. This is about them, and we wouldn't want you to not be in the know about everything. So here at our district, oh excuse me, here at our district, we have policies set in place to make sure that we notify you early enough so that you can be involved at our meetings and we'll involve you in the scheduling and we can mutually agree at time, location, place for these meetings that we want you to be a part of. Also, we'll be sure to be clear about everything in the meeting. We'll make it brief. We'll make it precise, because we know we value your time, and we have our time as well that we value. So we'll always have a purpose, a plan for every single meeting, and we'll make sure that you know ahead of time. Because we want you to be involved as much as possible. So, also, just wanted to let you know every time we meet or every time we talk about your student with one another, we're going to be documenting that. And every time that we try to reach out to you, we try to schedule a meeting, we're going to document it just for the sake of documentation and living above reproach on all ends so that we all know that we're trying to help each other. We're trying to help each other. Secondly, I'd like to discuss the referral process. There's about 6 stages that we go through. Stage one is first, if you would like to get your student referred for special education, there has to be a concern in your student's progress. So that concern is going to either be through your observation or general education teacher's observation of your student's progress. So first is a concern. Stage two is data collection and information gathering. What we do there for data collection we look at your students' tests, your students' homework scores, all that stuff, just to check use it as data to see if there really is a struggle in the class. Then we share the data with an IEP team. Remember, IEP is an individualized education program. Remember, a team comes alongside your student to serve them in the best way possible. So we take the data and the information gathered in the general education courses, and we discuss it with the IEP team. Then we brainstorm some strategies, and we discuss, are these strategies going to work? Are they going to help? And then we put your student to the test, so to speak, and we have them utilize these strategies for a little bit to see if it works, and if not, then we'll reevaluate and we'll make a decision if they're to be put into special education. And maybe your next question is, what is the evaluation process? Well, the evaluation process is this: is that your student is going to partake in some standardized tests. Your student's record is going to be read and reviewed, meaning like their grades and just their actions in class. Just review it and just to see, maybe is special education the right fit for them? Do they need it? Do they need to study a little bit more? And do we need to take more tests on our end? Um, so we just review that. We record that, we read that, review it. Discussion happens. We meet with the IEP team. We want you to be there, maybe even your student if they're comfortable, and just to see and determine goals for development to see if special education is right. And we evaluate all together. Because remember, we want you to be involved as much as possible. Next, to determine if your student is eligible for special education is first they have to have one or more disabilities, certified disabilities, as defined by the Department of Education. Secondly, the disability must negatively affect their educational performance. And thirdly, the disability um, must require to see if it requires special education or related services and related services that will help bring the most growth and development to your student. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys about the IEP Progress, the Individualized Education Program, all of the components that goes into that, because there are a lot of components. It is not something that is very simple. It could be simple, could break it down, but there's a lot of moving parts to it. So first, we want to check the present levels. This meeting will include the present levels of your student. Where are they at? How are they doing in school? Next, we'll talk about their annual goals. We want to set goals every single year. We want to set annual goals to see, to mark their progress, to see if the special education is working. Next, we want to do some benchmarks, which is like short-term objectives, because we have long goals, but we want to see along the way, is there anything we need to modify? Is there anything we need to change that'll suit your student better? Next, we have to talk about measuring and reporting progress. Each IEP for each student has to contain a description of their progress and how they're moving along and how they're going to do in meeting their annual goals. Next, there's going to be a section about the special education. We're going to make a statement of the special education related services that might be needed by your student. Next, speaking of related services, we're going to talk about related services to see if there's any services that help your student's disability and that could benefit their education. Maybe it's speaking, maybe it's movement, motor skills, whatever it may be. We want to help as much as possible. Next, we want to talk about supplementary aids and services. These are also in addition to the related services. Hopefully, these aids can help, and provide access to better learning and participation in your student's academic journey. Next, we're going to talk about program modifications for school personnel, because we always want to talk about how we can do better on our part. It's not just your student, it's also us that we can always strive to see how we can do better. Next, there's the extent of non-participation. What this is and we're going to provide an explanation of the extent to which your student will not participate with non-disabled children in the regular class. We want to make sure that they're put into what we like to call the least restrictive environment. We want to make sure that they're being involved in the school and other students as much as possible. Next, we're going to talk about accommodations in assessment. These accommodations are we're going to decide as a team to see if a student needs accommodations in testing or other accommodations in assessments, whether it be testing or other sort of tests that we do to monitor the progress of your student. Next, service delivery. When will your student begin to receive services? Where, how often, how long will a session last? These are little details, but they're very, very important in discussing the IEP. Then there's transition planning. After the student's 16th birthday and younger, even if it's appropriate, the IEP team and myself are going to figure out some plan for your student to see what's next for them. How can we help them prepare for life after secondary education? Then, last but not least, the age of majority. 1 year before your student reaches the age of the majority, the IEP will include a statement that says we've talked to your student about the rights that will be given to him or her once they reach the age of majority, and what does this look like in the IEP. So I know that's a lot to swallow. If you have any questions, we can talk about it. I would love to talk about it with you more in depth. But just remember, we're here to partner with you. We want the best for your students, and we want your student to succeed always. So email me, text me if you have any questions, call me, and let's stay connected. And remember that you're not meant to do this alone. Neither is your student, and we want them to succeed in the best way possible. All right. Love you, parents. Have a great day, and let's keep doing it.